Welcome to the Butts in the Seats podcast, episode number 81. I'm Nick alongside Emily.
Hello.
Emily, who is sabotaging this intro by telling me I do an NPR voice for the start of the podcast.
Listeners chime in. Nick's voice is a little NPR at the very beginning of this. Live from our studio in New York City, it's All Things Considered. Like, come on.
I mean, I'll do an NPR style one. Welcome to the Butts in the Seats podcast.
You used to start
Episode
the podcast like
81.
this. If you just said episode 19 or 20, like that, yeah.
Yeah, we learn as we go, Emily. I'm really amazed we managed to more or less figure out the audio quality after one episode.
You know, that's where our college degrees came in handy.
We had them for the first episode.
Ask me what it is we do here.
Emily, what is it we do in this show?
Well, Nick, we take a week-by-week look at the slow but inevitable. That's not even true anymore. We take a week-by-week look at the downfall of WCW through Monday Nitros, and sometimes we sprinkle in a Thunder here and there.
Okay, I have my NPR voice. You have your HelloFresh ad read voice.
It's my customer service voice.
Yeah, so today we're talking about the January 31st, 2000 WCW Monday Nitro. After we looked at Thunder and went, oh, we don't need to do any more of these for a little while.
That was a really hard watch and a really hard record.
You know, admittedly, upon editing it, it didn't sound as bad.
But in the moment, neither of us came out of that recording feeling good.
Yeah, we debated, like, did we redo it? And that's basically the reason why you got Emily ranting about NXT Season 3, because it was a very short episode, like 46 minute, 47 minutes.
Felt like we needed to add something else, and I had a lot of hot takes.
What's what happens when Thunder's a piece of garbage?
NXT's not much better.
Well, yeah.
So you just get two flaming piles of garbage for the price of one.
We take a look at the week-by-week downfall of NXT. It starts at week 1.
Yeah. They premiered with a steaming pile of garbage.
So yeah, we're talking about Nitro today. We're back to our regularly scheduled programming, except it's still the 2-hour shows, which, again, thank God. We cannot say that enough. Every week we're like, ooh, okay, it's nice.
If I had to sit through another hour of this show, we would probably be doing more 2-part watches. Because when it was 3 hours, there were days where it's like, Nick, I can't do anymore. And we would look at the progress bar and we'd still have 45 minutes left. I'm like, no, I can't do anymore.
It's literally the third hour.
I can't do anymore. I have to stop.
It's literally why we're like, oh, we can watch SmackDown and usually do not watch Raw.
We never finish Raw. It's too much TV. Yeah. It's too much. And it's not the third hour that's the problem. It's the second hour.
Yeah, because the third hour...
the first hour and the third hour of Raw are usually good. The second hour is filler that they don't know what to do with and we don't want to watch. Cut your roster, cut down your shows, more people will watch.
We are recording this before AEW Collision starts, and so I have no idea what that's going to involve, because trying to do 3 kind of major shows, although even then they've kind of downgraded Rampage. I know you want to kind of honor the past, but when people are like, hey, this show might oversaturate your product, and you design the logo after WCW Monday Nitro, maybe not the best idea.
I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending.
Emily, we haven't gotten to the ending yet.
The thing is, like, there are people that were part of the WCW production in AEW. Tony Schiavone's there. You've seen this film before. You've seen this play out from start to finish. You know what's happening, Tony.
You were in the film twice, because you were in the film of the film.
You understand what's happening. Save them from themselves. Tony, you're our only hope.
Nah, Excalibur and Taz are our only hope.
Taz should also know.
Well, he wasn't. He
was around. He was part of ECW and WWE. He saw WCW crumble. So many people that are on the roster of AEW right now watched the crumble, and it was not that long ago.
I like how you don't reference Jericho as part of this.
Jericho's my sweet baby boy. He's never done anything wrong.
His wife has, but that's unrelated.
We're not talking about her.
I don't know if Taz ever had a WCW match. Because it would have been like pre-ECW, like maybe one.
He was there for the invasion. He was there when ECW died. He was there when WCW died. He knows what it looks like from either side of this.
He actually would have recently debuted in WWF in Storyline, because he debuts at Royal Rumble 2000. So he's like a week out. And I guess speaking of WWF, this is the week the Radicals show up.
I was about to ask. Okay.
And WWF absolutely murders WCW in the ratings this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. This is a shame because this wasn't a bad show. I'm
It
not
wasn't.
dreading talking about this.
But the other one's better.
Anyway, what was the main event on WWF tonight?
I don't know. I think it's next week or the week after where they do the Radicals minus Eddie because Eddie breaks his arm.
Yes, so
And-
Eddie is breaking his arm as
and-
the show was going
yeah.
on, right?
No, he breaks his arm on SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
Because they debut, but they don't have a match. They
Okay.
just show up in the front row of the crowd. I think it's next week or the week after where they do the Radicals and like Triple H versus, it's like The Rock, Kane, and Too Cool. Ooh. Main event, Scotty Too Hottie.
Scotty. Talk about a boy. I love him so much. I could just go on a rant for 45 minutes about how much I love Scotty Too Hottie.
Ugh.
That man is the owner of my boy stable.
Putting Emily in charge of the eventual Patreon might be a mistake.
This is just going to be a love fest on Scotty. And then this week is a love fest on the Hurricane. And then we're going to talk about Al Snow. It's just all of my favorites.
Okay, it was a love fest, and then we're gonna talk about Al Snow.
I suppose said I do love Al Snow, but he's got a lot going on.
I'm imagining Emily just sits me down, and I'm like, "We didn't watch anything." And like, no, you're just gonna,
You're just listening.
you're just here for a ooh or yeah.
Now you're the color commentary. Should we talk about the show?
Yeah, I was gonna say we should get into this. It's the January 31st, 2000 WCW Monday Nitro, in case you forgot from like 10 minutes ago when we said it. Live from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Not Wilkes Bar.
Yeah, we both learned that when they said it. And they kept saying it, so I assume it's right.
Which makes sense, because Pennsylvania has, they're known for their weird named towns.
So we start the show with a Thunder recap video package, and...
We didn't have to watch Thunder, because they recap fucking everything.
Yeah, and admittedly, we watched the recap package, and I go, we're kind of in the same spot we started in. If you missed Thunder, Sid's still champion. You didn't miss anything other than a weird bullshit swerve. The fact that they changed the title, they literally could have done, well, we did in the match so you're the champion, but I'm going to face you tonight on Thunder.
Yeah. They're just very clearly trying to get people to watch Thunder.
And Emily, I guess it is important we watch that match because it's been the last Kevin Nash match we see for a few weeks.
Yes.
Because Kevin Nash slipped on some ice getting out of his car.
No, he didn't.
And now needs to have surgery.
No, he did not. Kevin Nash pushed a baby carriage out of the way of a moving bus. Kevin Nash is a hero.
We'll get to that later. In reality, Kevin Nash slipped on some ice getting out of a car, hurt himself, and now needs surgery. He's going to be out for like 6 weeks-ish.
Crazy.
He's still going to be on TV in like a non-wrestling role, but he's not here this week. I'm wondering if they know he's going to miss 6 weeks or going to need surgery or whatever. Because the fact that Bret Hart is also hurt, and they're like, we don't know when he's going to be back, but he'll be back, except he won't.
No, he will not. I'm thinking that because Kevin's is probably more visible than Bret Hart's is,
Yeah.
I think they might have more of an idea of like, oh, you're injured, but like you slipped on ice. It's not like you were in a car accident and broke your arm.
Yeah, and I guess we'll talk about a little more as we go, because they set up plans that are without him, but he could also overwrite as soon as he
Exactly.
as they end up getting back. So
Which he's been known to do.
let's get into the actual show. Backstage, Scott Hall and Jeff Jarrett talk on the phone with Kevin Nash. Jeff Jarrett is named acting commissioner, which annoys Scott Hall. He's like,
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Why would Jeff Jarrett be acting commissioner, not Scott?
Scott's been back a week.
Yeah, but Jeff Jarrett
doesn't know
has
what's going on.
done worse things in his time here than Scott Hall did when he was here. I would trust Scott Hall over Jeff Jarrett.
I don't
Just
know.
saying something.
Scott Hall's a little bit of a mess. Maybe,
And Jeff Jarrett's not?
Not
Jeff
like
Jarrett
that.
is hot-headed, or not hot-headed. He's just like, he's quick. He has a quick reflex, and it's not always the right reflex. He's very quick to anger.
So they all head towards the ring. They don't make any mention of why Nash is gone in actuality here. Additionally, I noted, because this is actually where I noted the real reason, unrelated to all this, but little backstage scuttlebutt.
No, don't say that word.
Sorry, I forgot. Emily saw The Little Mermaid. And
I loved The Little Mermaid, but the worst part was that new Scuttlebutt song. It's the worst song I've ever heard Lin-Manuel Miranda write. It was bad.
But Steven Regal has been released by WCW.
Yeah. I didn't even know that he was owned by WCW.
Yeah, he hasn't appeared on Nitro in a while, but he's been...
I don't even remember saying our goodbye to him.
We did a little one. I mean, it was one of those where he wasn't a big fixture on the show, so...
No, he wasn't. And then he was gone for so long, I thought we just both forgot about him.
I think he was on Saturday night, maybe a Thunder or two, but The old personal demons is kind of the culprit here.
Ah.
We then get an abbreviated Nitro opening and opening pyro, and a new commentary team of Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, and Mark Madden.
It's the kiss of death.
Emily, how long did it take you to be over Mark Madden?
Well, by the end of this show, he's my least valuable player.
Yeah, that is not a category, unfortunately.
No. Maybe he's my worst bit.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder how he's doing. Like, has it been exaggerated? And I'm like,
No.
God, he comes off like an obnoxious prick. And
Yes.
look,
And not in a, like, I'm putting this on as a character kind of way.
yeah, yeah. Like, Bob, there's an art to being a heel commentator and being a Michael Cole. Actually, there's the tie into NXT Season 3.
Oh, God.
Annoying prick commentators. Michael Cole is great in like the 2020s. He's awful here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did manage to find out a search of this like database kind of thing. Bobby Heenan will do one Thunder, and I think other than that, it's just Saturday Night and Worldwide and other random crap.
Okay.
But it's not a Thunder we're going to review.
So we won't see him again.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I mean, who's to say he's not going to show up in some sort of weird backstage interview or some panel, but not as a commentator.
You really are covering your bases after the Jericho thing, aren't you?
I really am. I actually DM'd Jay from OSW that I'm like, hey, just so you know, there's this random other Warrior return that no one ever mentions. People only talk about the promo. He goes, oh shit, thanks for telling me. He's like a random run-in during a fucking Disciple match. Yeah, that's
Wild.
not. So the NWO come out to the ring. Madden establishes early that he's the heel commentator. I'm like, okay, I get it.
We get it. You're bad.
Jeff Jarrett tells the crowd that he's in charge because it's probably unclear whether or not they saw the backstage segment. Steiner then says he brought his own freaks because all the women here in Pennsylvania are fat and has the women show off their outfits.
Oh, he didn't just call them fat, Nick.
Oh, sorry.
Cornbread heifers. I drew a little cow in my notes.
They officially welcome Ron and Don Harris into the NWO, and I'm like, yeah.
They already were.
I mean, admittedly, it was like, hey, you're in, and that was it. So, like, it gave it the pomp and circumstance it deserved.
Pomp and circumstance.
Jarrett congratulates Sid for winning the title and is interrupted by a large asshole chant. I'm like, all right.
Shocking.
Jarrett says he decides where and when Sid's next match is, and he says it's at Super Brawl. It's going to be Sid versus Jeff Jarrett.
Who would have thought?
By the way, that's not when Sid's next match is. That's when the next title defense is.
That
However,
makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, he said, I decide when his next match is.
They were talking about the title. I'm willing to let that slide.
Also, you're telling me there's not going to be another title match between now and then?
No, but if this is what we're going with, I'm willing to let that slip of the tongue slide.
Yeah, and admittedly, kind of lost in all of this is that Jarrett's still the U.S. champion.
Yeah, but nobody really cares about
Yeah, but so it's going to be champion versus champion.
Nobody cares.
Jarrett also books a 6-man tag for tonight. It's going to be him and the Harris boys versus Sid and 2 others. Jarrett says he won't tell you who it is yet and blatantly has not decided who it's going to be.
Yeah. He's like, I'll decide that eventually.
And then one last thing, I will take bribes. Admittedly, this was fairly concise for an NWO promo. I'm like, you know what? You got it.
And coherent. They didn't mumble their way through this.
Kevin Nash wasn't here to drop some movie reference from 12 years ago. It's old enough to where you might recognize it, but not popular.
Like I said, it's whatever movie they were watching on the road.
So we have a Super Brawl main event and a Nitro main event.
Woo. They never said that it was the main event at Super Brawl.
Well, okay, it's the title match. I assume it's going to be.
Why would you assume that?
I think it's mostly has been. Actually, I'd be curious to go back. I think it's mostly been the WCW title match as the main event. Or there hasn't been a WCW title match.
Okay. I would never assume anything about where they're putting matches on the card. Because what if they want to do another Sid match later in the night? They want to have him run in and I don't know. There's a whole other slew of things that could happen.
Triple threat theater, baby.
Exactly. You never know how this is going to work out. So I would not put any stock in the fact that this is a Super Brawl main event.
Man, I'm just realizing I don't know that it would be good, but I'm like, you know what? I could enjoy a heel Sid versus face Kidman match.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
Kidman would just be wrestling circles around Sid.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, we basically be getting a match we get later tonight.
Yeah. Well.
But moving on, we get commentary plugging some stuff for this Nitro. It's going to be the Mamalukes versus David Flair and Crowbar in a tag team title match. Booker T versus Big T in a match that doesn't happen.
Spoilers!
Ric Flair is back.
Woo!
And hopefully he's going to do more than just clap on the ramp.
That was so annoying.
And Madden says the way he got this job is that he bribed Jeff Jarrett.
Which makes sense, because Jeff Jarrett says he takes bribes. It's in keeping with the character.
And so, in that case, when someone new takes over WCW, they should fire Mark Madden.
They should.
I admittedly don't know if Madden's around until the end of the show. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I'd guess so, but I don't know that for sure.
The way you've talked about Mark Madden is like he shows up and then the show dies. So I thought he showed up a lot later.
No, it was just one of those things where I know when Mark Madden shows up, Bobby Heenan's gone, is really what it was.
Yeah.
But also, I know Mark Madden's around for a lot of crap, so.
Yeah.
Sid arrives to the arena in very 90s gear. Just looking like all those plastic cups that you got,
Well,
like,
they're trying to push those Surge cans. I bet they didn't. There wasn't an ad for it in this, but I'm sure he looks like how he looks on his Surge can.
Ric Flair arrives in a limo, and also we get a shot of backstage. Jay Biggs is back.
Ugh.
He's here with the new Harlem Heat, and Emily lost her mind upon revisiting this episode.
Big T is coming to the arena holding a gallon of milk, and not a full gallon of milk, a like 3/4 of the way empty gallon of milk. So it's assumed that he has been drinking this milk as like a pre-workout almost. Imagine chugging like over half of a gallon of milk and then going for a wrestling match. Like even you enjoy a glass of milk. You are weird for that. But imagine drinking so much, like almost over half a gallon of milk. And then wrestling?
Well, he's not going to wrestle.
But that's his intention. He has a match on the card. That's the intention. That's his pre-workout.
Yeah, the match on the card, they don't really explain why it doesn't happen. But
Nope.
We'll get there.
But it's on the card, so you're supposed to believe that he is intending to have a match. And he's drinking milk to prepare. Probably whole milk. That didn't look like skim milk.
Yeah, it was a red cap.
It was a red cap, which would imply whole milk.
I don't know why that's a thing, but
I don't know.
it is.
But red is whole, purple is 2%, green is skim.
I've seen a couple of like teal being 1 or 2%, but yeah, like red is whole milk. I don't know
weird. Not everything is 1%, so yeah, I don't know.
Elsewhere backstage, Terry Funk and Arn Anderson do not seem to be on the same page. To go to our first match, it is a Cruiserweight title tournament match. It is Lash LaRue versus Evan Courageous. And I don't know whether it's dubbed or not, but Evan Courageous comes out to his old theme and not his 3-count theme.
It sounded like it was a dubbed theme.
He then is like, oh, I'm going to go into the whole 3-count thing. I have a solo.
Yeah, it sounds super dubbed.
And Lash like stops him before then, so I don't know. We got an early power slam from Evan Courageous, and then a tilt-a-whirl slam to Evan Courageous. Then Courageous springboards to the floor onto Lash. Very back and forth, not a lot of psychology in this one.
Yeah, it was not much to it.
Not a lot of catch-can style here.
What? Oh, this is when Mark Madden was starting to say a lot of his lines that really turned me on him. So I guess it was a lot faster than I thought. So in his commentary in this, he mentioned that he would love to go to a 3-count concert because it'd be full of teenage girls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that great? He also said, Oklahoma pouring barbecue sauce on Medusa, that's peak technical wrestling. And he said that sincerely.
Speaking of Oklahoma, we peeked at the Thunder after this. We're not reviewing it. He's now in charge of the women's division. I thought he was gone. I was told he was gone.
Oh my God.
Admittedly, this is also kind of why we do this podcast. It's because so many sources just gloss over these things that they're like, oh yeah, Oklahoma never seen again. Yes, he was.
Liar.
I'm listening to the audiobook for the book Nitro, which is one of the kind of like the big two for WCW books. They just don't talk about this period barely at all. Like, they talk about like the Radicals leaving and that, and like.
So this is like a dark age of wrestling.
Yeah, a little bit. Lash LaRue goes for a shake, rattle, and roll, but is interrupted by 3-count kind of pulling down the top rope. Like, it's a spot they're supposed to do a little cleaner, but he crashes to the floor. We get a sloppy baseball slide followed by a sloppy vaulting dive to the outside, and like he barely catches anything on either of them.
Yeah.
Back inside, Shane Helms tries to interfere, but is fought off. We then get Whiplash 2000, which is a Russian leg sweep neck breaker.
They called it a reverse Russian leg sweep. That's what commentary called it. And they said he calls it a Whiplash 2000.
But a Russian leg sweep is backwards.
They call it a reverse Russian leg sweep.
That would be forward.
I don't know, man. That's what they said.
That's the stroke. That's Jeff Jarrett's finisher. I did like the move. I thought it was interesting enough looking. And
cool move, bad name.
Yeah. But it's interesting enough looking, and it's safe. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, cool. I'll accept this. And Lash LaRue wins. He's advancing in the tournament, which we still don't have a bracket for.
We still don't know who's in this tournament.
This was a opening match. Wasn't offensive, but
it was a very opening match.
Yeah.
It was talk over it, get the commentary some more time to just chit chat, and have it be inoffensive.
Remember when they had Lash LaRue hold his own against Scott Hall, and they're like, he might be going somewhere.
Yeah, that didn't take very long. That didn't really go anywhere.
Is that just the mid and undercard in WWE in a nutshell? Commentary going, he might be going places. No.
Nope.
Backstage, the NWO mumble. I know, it's shocking.
They are mumbling about how the catering that was brought to them is not fancy enough. They want lobster, and they want medallions, and they want filet, and yeah.
One of the Harris boys, just rejects the sandwich platter, and I'm guessing it was one of like actual concession workers, because a girl in her 20s walks in, has the sandwiches, walks out, and just knows how to just kind of smiling like, I'm here.
This is fine.
We then get back-to-back ads coming back from whatever commercial. It's a Randy Savage Slim Jim ad.
Still.
And then the first of two, Dustin Rhodes. Don't try this at home.
This was weird.
It was.
Because Dustin Rhodes does not really have a crazy move set to the point where it's like, oh man, I really want to emulate Dustin Rhodes.
Since like Starrcade.
Right, exactly. But it would make more sense for this to be coming from like Kidman, honestly. Kidman or Ray or even Sid of just like, listen, we're trained. We can do all these crazy things. You cannot.
Well, speaking of Dustin Rhodes, I recently
watched him get married. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, I was recently listening back to an old episode of the Ad Terror podcast, and they're talking about a promo he does, which is basically the 7 promo.
Oh.
Where he goes back to being Dustin Runnels or whatever, and he's like, oh yeah, I was Goldust, and Goldust sucked. And I'm like, that's the exact verbiage.
That's almost the exact, that's the exact promo.
Both promos written by Vince Russo. So
he has one promo.
Yeah. Which, just peak Attitude Era. He had a sign, and it was meant to be like thinking, evangelical Christian, because he was all like moral superiority, sign saying he is coming. Mm-hmm. So Emily, you have a guy with a sign saying he is coming. Who do you have him feud with?
Val Venus.
You are correct, Emily. I think Val had a sign that said, I have come. Oh, Christ.
Literally.
Well, in one of the cases. Anyway, let's move on. We get Mean Gene interviewing the Crazies, which we need a better name for.
Yeah, I was going to say, calling them Crazies does kind of feel like derogatory, but that's how I have them written down, too.
Well, it doesn't help, we talked about this before, that, it's just how they're presented. Do
they have a faction name?
I remember at one point, David and Daphne watched the movie Natural Born Killers, and were like, it's us. And I forget if it's later in WCW or it's in ECW and it happened already, or it's cross-promotional. I know the Natural Born Thrillers are a thing.
Oh, no.
I think it's with an AZ, too, just to add to the 2000s cringe.
Yeah, really. And it's probably two white boys trying to be hip, right?
Yeah. Tweet in if you have a good name, or there's a canon name that we haven't gotten to yet.
We're just missing, yeah.
I mean, they have Daphne, the Mystery Machine.
That's stupid.
I mean, David Flair is about as good a promo as Scooby-Doo is, so.
I mean, sure, but I feel like calling them the Mystery Machine is almost giving them too much credit. Like, Crowbar's good, but he's not, let's resolve all sins good.
But yeah, Mean Gene's interviewing them. David laughs. Daphne just basically says Crowbar cut a promo.
Pretty much. He's like, yeah, say something.
And I made the joke last week that Crowbar turned into Gordon Soley. I think he was doing an impression. I've not heard enough Gordon Soley to be like, oh, that was. But commentary kind of... He's like the old school WCW announcer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no idea.
Commentary kind of references that. So I'm like, oh, wait, is he doing an impression? He does it well enough. But...
So maybe.
He hops on the mic, does the hard sell. And I'm like, good.
It would make sense.
Good man.
It would make sense for him to be doing an impression. To be in canon with their personalities.
Oh, yeah.
If he's doing an impression, that makes total sense.
Agreed, yeah. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if he's going for that because I've not watched enough real old school WCW.
Which is okay. We don't need to go all the way back there.
Like NWA territory, not even like...
We don't need to go back there. We are doing just fine where we are. I don't want to go back to know what's coming in the future.
So you're ruling out after we finish, after we get to the end of WWE, going back and starting the Nitro era.
No, I don't want to do that.
So they're backstage doing the interview. The goons attack them.
The goons!
And the bell rings because apparently this is a street fight and they had some sort of fancy name for what type of street.
Yeah, did you write it down?
They're all the same. I don't.
It's just it's some hardcore no rules match, whatever.
It's some Italian thing, but yeah. So we are now in the Mamalukes versus David Flair and Crowbar for the WWE Tag Team titles. They actually brawl out outside into the snow for about like 7 seconds. I think one person gets scoop slammed in the snow and they go, "That's enough. I'm chilly."
In case you forgot, we're in Northwest Pennsylvania at the end of January. Yeah. It's cold.
I don't know when he would have got there because this match didn't have, a clean initial start. But Disco Inferno's on commentary.
Yeah, I did not make any note of him on commentary.
Well, I think the one thing of note is that he basically says, "Yeah, you're never going to see Tony Marinara again."
Does he say that? I missed that.
They don't kill him off, but they basically go like,
with the fishes.
Yeah, not quite. But they basically Disco is just in charge of the Mamalukes now, which it's kind of been happening. We've seen it subtly, but they flat out said no, Tony's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we never really knew what Tony was going to do. Like, his storyline did have a pretty clean finish line to it. He didn't get to the finish line, but there was a finish to his story. Like, you catch Disco, you pay off your father. What else he got?
Yeah.
He wasn't wrestling.
But he didn't pay off his father.
Exactly. So they didn't finish his story, but his story always had an end.
All right, WrestleMania 40. Tony Marinara, Cody Rhodes, finished the story.
Oh my God. No, we're going to that WrestleMania. I don't want that. Well, we're going to that WrestleMania, knock on wood, assuming we get tickets.
I was going to say, assuming there isn't a pandemic again. Because the last WrestleMania we tried to go to was WrestleMania in 2020.
Yeah. I've never been more sad than that day.
So,
no, it was the day that we realized that it wasn't going to happen because Disney World shut down, but WrestleMania hadn't been canceled yet. So we're like, maybe we still go to Florida? Because we didn't know how bad it was.
Yeah, it was still the days of like, how bad is this?
This isn't that bad. But guess it was.
So there's a match. They finally get to the ring. There's a crutch shot to a trash can lid on David Flair's crotch. And man, Vito almost misses.
Oh, does he?
He clips the back end of the trash can, which
whatever he gets, it looks like it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, I guess actually maybe that's for the best to not hit directly on the center of the lid because that would have been where his dick is.
Good point. But if you're not wearing a cup, that's kind of on you.
Vito works David over with some weapons and then tries to do the trash talk to the camera. I think gets half a syllable out and then they cut away. I'm like,
off.
What are you?
You're not even giving him a chance.
He's doing the hands. What are you doing?
I love that they have the hands as part of their moveset. But you don't even give them a chance to try to redeem themselves or become themselves.
I've never looked. It's gonna break my heart if Vito and Johnny the Bull are not actually Italian.
Don't look. They're probably as Italian as you are. You're Italian, but you're not born and bred Italy Italian.
Yeah, and I don't know if Johnny the Bull is Italian, but I know he goes on to become Relic.
Shut the fuck up,
And I don't
Nick,
know if you're aware of this,
Nick,
but Relic is killer.
Nicholas, I'm calling off the wedding. I'm not doing this anymore.
Oh, hey, here's Miss Hancock.
I'm going to kill you.
But look at her legs, though, Emily.
I have 75 days to decide if I want to go through with this wedding. Tread lightly.
Johnny the Bull hits a press slam. They just keep cutting to Stacy at the announce table. I don't remember Mark Madden saying anything awful here.
Honestly, me either, which is kind of shocking.
Or we just heard it and tuned it out.
There was a lot going on in this match. So there's a very high chance that he did say something and we just didn't catch it.
Yeah. We had a tope leg drop from Crowbar onto a chair on Johnny the Bull's face, which he set up and I went, well, okay, he's going to move because this would be awful to take. And he hit it. And it looked awful to take.
He should have moved, that's for sure.
Then we get a springboard dive to the Mamalukes from Crowbar. And then they put a table in the ring. And Crowbar lays the table on top of Johnny the Bull with the metal frame side up. And I'm like,
yeah, this
what are you going for?
Why would you do this?
Even if you hit what you're going for.
This screamed, I'm going to throw this table out of the way and fuck you over.
Which, reading the note in my notes, Crowbar lays a table on Johnny the Bull just sounds wrong.
But no, that is what happened. But this is kind of one of those instances of he who sets it up takes the bump. Like, he didn't set it up. No. He just presented it as an option. He just brought it into the ring.
Yeah, because Disco hops off commentary and stops a moonsault from Crowbar, which is probably best for everybody here. Yeah. Him and Johnny the Bull lay Crowbar on the table after setting it up, and Vito hits a diving splash for the win.
Woo!
This was messy, but not bad.
It really wasn't bad. I really kind of enjoyed it.
I mean,
Crowbar did a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, I would say maybe it helps that David kind of disappeared into the background. David was barely in this
match for good reason.
It makes me sad that I don't know what happens with Crowbar.
I know. I was gonna ask. Like, I have not Googled it at all. Of like, where does Crowbar go next? What does he do after this? But like, he has the makings of what could be a fantastic character in wrestling. Like, we know he's a good wrestler. We know he's a good promo. Like, you could really push this guy and do something with him, but I don't think they're gonna. Like, obviously, because I don't know who he is.
I don't know if we know he's a good promo. He's good at doing that one impression. I'd love to hear him actually get some mic time, but I don't know if he actually sticks around until the end of WCW. But, you know, he's not part of the Invasion. I think he ends up in WWA or XWF or some crap. So, yeah, I don't know where he goes, and that kind of makes me sad.
I hope he goes off to do better things. I wonder if he's like a trainer somewhere now.
Hopefully.
Maybe he's in AEW, because everybody seems to be going to AEW. Yeah.
Well, a couple people we know are not headed to AEW. Mr. Biggs and Harlem Heat head towards the ring. Midnight and Booker T are also headed towards the ring. Although, again, we see Midnight head towards the ring, and she's not going to appear when she probably should.
Midnight is useless. I have turned on her. She is so useless. She is like not quite Miss Elizabeth, but she is going down that path. She is a big, buff woman who has, you know, the ability to kick somebody for like at least, I don't know if her wrestling ability has gotten better. She kind of did the David Flair of like, she got better and then she got bad and then she got better. But like, try.
Yeah, but unlike David,
do anything.
Unlike David Flair, I know she just vanishes at some point.
Do anything.
Elsewhere backstage, Brian Knobbs bribes Jeff Jarrett to book Finlay versus the Total Package. Not really sure why he picked Lex Luger, but sure.
Did he pick Lex Luger?
Yeah, he said it against the Total Package. In a bit of storytelling we saw a mile away when he said it, I can assure you they'll be in the same ring tonight. We're like,
I wonder what that could mean.
I don't know that I called it exactly, but I'm like,
we both caught it. We're like, this is going to be fuckery.
Whatever it is, it's not going to be Finlay versus the Total Package.
No, it was never going to be that.
Out towards the ring, Booker comes out and gets a big pop. Like, I've said it before, and I know you do, but fucking push this man.
And they're going to have to push him by default soon, because they're going to lose all their main roster, like, main event people. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, because main event Booker should have happened, but...
yeah, I don't think he gets the real push until midsummer. I mean, maybe something happens before then, but I think we still have a little while. And when Booker's coming out, his music suddenly stops, and he kind of looks confused. And in a bit of storytelling that I've kind of been unintentionally alluding to, Jay Biggs, Mr. Biggs, I think it was Jay Biggs they called him.
I don't remember.
He comes out to explain. He says that music is property of Harlem Heat Incorporated.
They're an LLC?
So Booker can no longer use the music, but he says that they're not ungenerous, and it's like, all right, here's a new theme for you, and it's generic rock theme number 3.
Okay, so I didn't quite get the joke on this. To me, this didn't land as well, because it seems like so much of the music in WCW is dubbed, and it's dubbed with a generic song. So when this played, it didn't hit for me that this was supposed to be a dig, because it was just like, it just kind of sounds like another WCW theme.
I was going to say, like, in terms of the dubbing, a handful of themes are dubbed. I wouldn't say it's the majority. But,
I just said a good bit. I mean,
but I would say it's really more a damning indictment of, yes, there are a lot of crap WCW themes. So yeah, this didn't
sound that bad.
Yeah, it sounded better than a handful of them.
Yeah. So I didn't quite get the dig of this. I thought like it could have been worse. So Mr. Biggs has his little dig line.
Of meaningless music for a meaningless person.
Which, like, damn.
That's a good line.
That's harsh. I don't think that was warranted. Like, that music was bad, but it wasn't, like, insulting.
And then he continues, and I knew we were kind of getting this, but oh, fuck. It's the T promo.
Yes, they are teasing that T match.
It's the Sesame Street promo.
You said they did there with teasing? Apparently,
the letter T is property of Harlem Heat, which prompts asshole chants of all the...
How dare you claim a letter?
During Pride Month, too.
That is one of the letters. You're right.
So Stevie then grabs the mic and just reiterates everything that's already been said. Like, good promo, bud.
But he adds in that Booker also can't wear the flame pants.
Apparently.
The flames are copywritten.
I'm wondering if this is the start of him wearing the trunks. Is
I hope
this
not.
going to prompt it?
I don't want Booker T wearing shorts.
But he also name drops the G.I. Bro gimmick, and it's like, well, you can't be Booker T anymore and be Harlem Heat, but you can go be G.I. Bro.
But they called him Booker, which, like, I'm fine with Booker. Just drop the T.
It's going to spill everywhere.
Spill that tea, sis.
Big T then grabs the mic and says the letter T belongs to him. And by the way, if you were wondering, our outro music will be Sesame Street. He then offers to settle the name dispute right now, except Jay Biggs is like, no, we're not doing that. Despite the match being booked for tonight.
Is supposed to be a match in the ring right now.
Jay Biggs saw the milk and went, no, brother.
You are not prepared.
You ain't going out there.
Sir, you need to go, like, purge for a minute, because with all that milk in you, you're not putting on a good match at all.
Well, I don't know that he would anyway.
Well,
look, Ahmed Johnson brought good energy. I don't know that he was ever known for his good matches.
valid.
So Mr. Biggs comes towards the ring, and he wonders if Booker even has a wrestling license, which...
I like, what the fuck is a wrestling license?
Yeah, so I figured this might be a little confusing, because it's an old school wrestling thing of wrestlers have their wrestling license, and managers have their manager's license. And it's basically so that wrestlers can't come out in a managerial role. Like, you need your license for that. You're one
so, like,
or
that
the
makes
other.
Sense. But the wrestling license seems weird.
Yeah, and it was like, I don't think they said that's why the match wasn't happening, because they tacked it on like, I bet you don't even have this. Like, well, does Harlem Heat own it or no? And,
right.
Because like that would kind of make sense for why the match wasn't happening.
Right.
But they never outright say that.
It's just, this is the first time I've ever heard of a license, so it felt made up to me. It felt like you were just coming up with something. And he also implied, like, if you don't have a license, you're a fake wrestler. You're a phony. Like, what does A have to do with B?
Well, I guess actually, I think they've previously mentioned a license once recently. Because there was some sort of paperwork with Liz and the Total Package and Sting.
Yeah, but that was...
But I guess that was more...
But that was a managerial thing.
Yeah, well, manager's license. But
manager's license, I am behind a manager's license. That makes sense to me. The wrestler's license is where you lose me.
yeah, I mean, athletic commissions, shit like that. I don't know.
But that's not a license.
What if Booker T is forklift certified? How that?
Forklift certified Booker T.
Him versus Perry Saturn.
Yeah, because wasn't that the name of an episode
Yes.
way back in the day? So we can't rehash that.
Judy Bagwell is a special guest referee from atop the forklift.
Oh my god.
So anyway, Jay Biggs gets in the ring. So as he's shit talking, Midnight comes out and drags Jay Biggs into the ring. However, she comes out like 10 to 15 seconds after Harlem Heat leave.
So they had to have crossed paths behind the curtains.
Yeah.
They had to have been like, oh, hey, Midnight, what's up? Like, what? It's broken. The universe is broken.
So Jay Biggs is in the ring. Booker beats him down a little bit despite him objecting. And there's a weird lawyer aspect like, oh, is he going to be sued? The commentary half mentions it, but doesn't really care. It seems like they don't know if that's going to be a story or not.
Yeah, but as they're like brawling in the ring, doesn't he like hurt Mr. Biggs' neck or something?
Yeah, because Harlem Heat comes out to save Jay Biggs. Midnight just watches Booker get beat down for a little bit.
Midnight is useless.
She jumps on Big T, and then the heels just beat down Booker, and Biggs is going to hit him, but then sells his neck. And
that's going to be a malpractice lawsuit. Or not malpractice. That's just going to be a lawsuit at some point. Like, that has to be it.
Yeah, Booker gets chance. People want him to do better.
Yeah, because Booker T is great. You know who's holding Booker T?
Use his name, his proper name.
Do not do that to me again. That sent me into fight or flight. And I'm ready to fight you.
I thought you were in on the bit, and I saw the face, and I'm like, oh no, apparently she's not. Use his legal name now.
Booker?
Yes. Don't use a T. We're
Don't
going to get
remember what I was
sued.
going to say because I'm so enraged.
We don't want to get sued. This was a unsurprisingly dumb promo.
It didn't make any sense. Like, because this didn't turn into a match that was billed.
Yeah.
Why not just turn it into a brawly match?
Yeah, it didn't. The match didn't happen, and I kind of like the bit of story where it's like, yeah, you're not a Harlem Heat anymore. You can't do the Harlem Heat things. Like,
sure, that makes sense. I'm down with that.
And then the letter T is when. So I'm actually kind of curious. Do you think they gave him the name Big T before they had this idea or after?
Before.
So they decided afterwards to do this story.
Yes, I think that the brawl of over the letter T was an afterthought, and they're like, "Oh, look what we did! That's so silly. That's dumb."
Oh, I think it's the opposite.
No.
I think they gave him the name going,
I don't want to.
brother, I got a story for you.
I don't want to give them that much credit.
I swear to God, you're gonna fight over a goddamn letter.
Well, this isn't Vince Russo.
I know. I'm trying to think if he was here for Russo. I think it was after. But all right, let's move on. Norman Smiley heads towards the ring in a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey.
Yeah, you didn't even know this was Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, it looked a little cartoonish, but I don't like the NHL, and I'm not even going to pretend to.
Fake fan. Hockey's fun.
3 count attacks him, and he runs away. Elsewhere backstage, we then get Jeff Jarrett talking to Finlay. Apparently, Brian Knobbs did not give Jeff Jarrett enough money.
So yeah, he just sells out Knobbs to Finlay.
Yeah, so Finlay is now the special guest referee for Brian Knobbs versus the Total Package. Elsewhere, we see Brian Knobbs pissed about this, watching on some television screen.
Jeff Jarrett never said he wasn't a man of his word. He did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, he's a shit booker. He booked a heel versus heel with a third heel as the referee.
Again, no one said Jeff Jarrett was a good booker. Like, we didn't say he was good at his job. We just said that he's a man of his word.
His dad's a good booker. Fucking learn from your dad.
Who's his father?
Jerry Jarrett.
Nope.
Jerry Jarrett actually would have been the person to take over the WWF if Vince had gone to prison for the steroid scandal.
In 1994, my family was put under attack just like the World Trade Centers. Yeah, I remember that.
We continue backstage. Norman Smiley finds the Kiss Demon's casket.
Yeah, he's like running and hiding from 3 count, and he just kind of hides in the casket, and then, scary magic. Casket starts to close on him.
But the effects aren't that good, so it just looks like he's pulling the door closed.
It does kind of, yeah. But he's screaming, so you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, additionally, the Kiss Demon's gear is in there. This will come up later.
Stupid.
Let's go to a match that I was saying should have been happening for weeks or should have been a feud, and it's just a throwaway match instead. It's Kidman with Tori versus The Wall.
I will never get excited for The Wall.
I
know they're trying to push him, and even as he was coming out, they were like lauding him as this great wrestler, and he's the only one that can take down Kidman or whatever. I don't know what they even said.
He lost clean to Sid 2 weeks ago.
They were lauding this man like he's the best thing that wrestling has ever produced, like the best thing that WCW has ever created. I'm like, he's fucking mid at best. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And even in this match, he's so forgettable. Like, it's not about him. It shouldn't be about him, at least.
The Wall charges the start, and Kidman hits a rebound clothesline. Wall starts beating down Kidman, including a big press slam. Then hits a backbreaker and a 2-handed choke. Follows that up with a gutbuster to Kidman. And then Kidman's put on the top rope but manages to get away and hits a missile dropkick. Pop-up Hurricane Rana to the Wall, but the Wall catches Kidman out of the air and slams him in a nice kind of feat of strength spot. The Wall signals for the choke slam. And then we get Vampiro coming out.
Yeah, why are you here?
Tori gets in the apron to kind of distract the ref for this next spot because the Wall gets Kidman up to do the big chokeslam spot, and Vampiro gets in the top rope and hits a diving spin kick. Who he hits this on is kind of relative because he definitely appears to hit Kidman fully.
Yes.
Yes. However, Kidman lands on top of the Wall and pins him with just like Wall laying flat on the ground, meaning this would have somehow knocked out the Wall.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't just lay down. Like it wasn't like, he landed in a small package or...
Was he supposed to hit the Wall and he missed? Was he supposed to hit Kidman and just kind of like... Was he just here to fuck with the match and it didn't matter to him who won?
Well,
like, was he just there to fuck with shit?
To add 2 layers of more questions to this, Vampiro sees Kidman on top, like about to get the pin, looks at it, basically shrugs and goes, fine, and leaves the ring.
That's why I'm thinking that he just wanted to mess with the match regardless of the outcome.
But Kidman then confronts Vampiro on the way out, and they cut away before we can hear any of it.
We don't know if it was a like, hey, what the fuck, man, or hey, thanks for that. Like, we don't know if it was a handshake or a shove. Yeah,
it overshadowed any sort of quality or lack of quality in this match.
Yeah.
I mean, the match itself was kind of but it was just such a messy end that I'm like, I don't know what I'm meant to take away from this.
Right. But there was one thing in this match that really ground my gears.
Oh, I forgot about this.
How could you forget? So there was a sign in the crowd, and this sign is just the pinnacle of respect the fucking public school system, public teachers, because we desperately need them. because this is embarrassing. So there was a sign that said Tory =S ratings. The apostrophe S is redundant. Tory =ratings. That still says Tory = ratings. X = Y. You don't put X =S Y. That's not how grammar works. That's not how math works. That's not how any of this works. And if you had just listened to your fucking teachers in Hooked on Phonics in 3rd grade, you would never have had this problem.
Emily, there's a worse grammatically incorrect sign I need to tell you about.
Oh, no.
It's from TNA.
Oh, God.
And it's Hogan and Bischoff's first show, and they're coming down the ramp, and there's a sign someone has that says they're here.
Oh, it's the wrong there.
It's THERE, but
God.
there's a bunch of E's, a bunch of R's, and a bunch of E's.
But those are opposites. Here and there.
And to add to it, Hogan grabs the sign and points to it like, "Yeah, brother, we're here."
To the parents out there, please call your student's school and get the principal on the phone and thank those teachers for being there, because what the fuck is happening? This was 20 plus years ago, and this is still a problem. This was literally 23 years ago, and nothing has gotten better. Learn to listen to your teachers, take grammar seriously, respect your fucking teachers, advocate for price raises, that's not right. Advocate for raises for teachers. This is ridiculous.
Emily loves teachers. She shared a mimosa tower with one of them recently.
She needed it. She just finished her school year, and it was rough.
Let's move on. Backstage, Ric Flair heads towards the ring, and somewhere else, Scott Hall wants to know who the mystery partners are going to be, and it's still not decided. We see Mean Gene is in the ring. He has very generic music, and I'm like,
I've never noted Mean Gene's music ever.
I don't think I've played it before. It was here at the end of it. I'm like, why not just use the Nitro music? What the fuck?
Yeah.
But he also has some glasses.
The man's wearing glasses.
Gene references that Ric Flair is potentially running for governor of North Carolina.
I guess I missed this, because I thought this was a joke.
No. He was legitimately debating at the time. He doesn't end up doing it, but he was talking about it.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking, like, we talked about Hogan running for president. The Rock played with running for president. We know that Glenn Kane becomes the mayor. Like,
by the way, his name is Glenn Jacobs, not Glenn Kane. No, his name is
Glenn Kane. Who else was in politics? Like, how high does this go?
The biggest one that you're missing would be Jesse the Body Ventura, who you would have seen very little of.
Yeah, I don't know him.
He becomes governor of Minnesota, but he's like
good for him.
80s era commentary.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And he wrestled in the 70s.
Okay.
Admittedly, it would have been a great feud with Hogan, but just had an injury and couldn't end up staying wrestling.
Yeah.
Fun fact about Jesse Ventura. I guess actually two fun facts. He tried to form a wrestlers union back in the 80s.
Oh, he failed.
And he got ratted out. That doesn't work for me, brother.
Fuck you. Fuck this man.
And then after he was governor, I forget what channel it was on, but he hosted a conspiracy theory show.
Jesse Ventura did?
Yes.
Oh, I'm interested in
I don't think it's a good show. I remember I watched it at the time, but I remember even 13-year-old me this is pretty flimsy.
I'm interested in that.
And you're forgetting the most prominent
Glenn Kane.
WWE superstar to run for politics. WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump.
That doesn't count.
Has been indicted.
Also, I don't remember him. Was he ever an in-ring worker?
Oh God, no.
Then it doesn't count, brother.
No, he hit Vince McMahon with some very bad punches at WrestleMania. I don't know
who he is. I couldn't tell you anything about the man or his hair or his second indictment.
I was reminded of a promo that Hulk Hogan cuts at a WrestleMania where they're at one of the Trump hotels. I think it's one of the Atlantic City ones, where he's like, Donald Trump's a Hulkamaniac. The apocalypse is going to happen. He's going to let go of all his earthly possessions. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you coked up
did
asshole?
Try to have the apocalypse happen. He didn't try, but he didn't stop the apocalypse from happening. That's for damn sure.
But Emily, it's been a long time, but it's back from Ric Flair.
Did we get it?
We get it. Mean Woo by God Gene is back.
Woo!
we were so excited. We didn't think he was going to do it.
No, because he came out so serious and kind of solemn. Like, he had some shit to say when he came out. And usually he only does the mean will by Gajin when he's, like, coming out, like, doing the dance and kind of, like, styling and profiling. And he came out to Gene, and it really didn't seem like he was going to do it.
Well, that kind of sets the tone for this, because Emily, is Ric Flair a heel or a face here?
Oh, could not tell you.
He seems to flip-flop.
I mean, he's only here because he got paid. He outright says that. I wouldn't have come to Pennsylvania if the deal wasn't right.
Well, we'll get there, because he starts off by going, yeah, I'm better than all of your local sports teams combined. And they're like, yeah, Ric Flair.
Ric Flair's the best.
He also says that wrestling fans have been starved to see him. And I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Flair soaks in the crowd support and the signs and is like reading them. And he's like, yeah, Flair is God. I am. I'm great. He also says he's never had a peer in this sport, and at the age of 50, he's still the man, and then references his Space Mountain moniker.
I honestly, like, you're telling me all these words that he said, I could not catch a single word. He was, like, so on another plane that I was not catching most of this promo.
He says that everyone has missed him, and asks Gene if Gene's missed him, and he's like, I really have.
I bet that's true.
Yeah, Gene doesn't get to talk to anybody anymore.
Which is lame. He's still, like, a good, interviewer.
He's just doing the hotline.
Which is lame. They don't even advertise the hotline anymore.
Yeah. Flair then notes something we've talked about previously, that a few weeks ago, the powers to be asked him to be commissioner, but he declined. We haven't gotten a powers to be mentioned in a while.
Yeah, they haven't mentioned powers to be probably since Flair left. He hasn't gotten the memo that, like, we don't do that anymore.
No, it's been after that, because remember, he got buried in the desert for the whole Russo kind of time, so... And I think Nash weirdly mentioned them in very much passing, but...
I just don't remember the phrase powers to be coming up.
He also asked, why would you want the greatest wrestler alive to be commissioner? And I'm like,
good point.
You've been commissioner before.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, he was president.
He was president. That was not commissioner.
Which, he also gets big nature boy chants, which I rarely hear. Here's where Flair notes that, like, I only came back because the money was right. Which, that might be a little bit of a shoot. I know he's trying to get out of his contract.
I'm sure it's true.
He takes off his jacket and wants to clarify one thing, and it's that he has an issue with Terry Funk. He's confused.
Which begs the question of, like, did anybody know what the plan was last week?
He's literally like, I don't know why Funk thought Flair would support him.
Like, if we're all feuding, if all the old men don't like each other, what the fuck was Arn and Terry doing last week?
I don't know. We'll never know. And it's never going to be followed up on. We're past it. Thunder doesn't count.
I guess not, but, like, even Thunder now doesn't make any sense, because why did Ric Flair just come out? It was a whole... I don't know, man.
He had to clap. Yeah, Flair says he doesn't support Funk and then calls him out. And Funk comes out and gets, like, large boos.
Which I don't understand.
No. And then he also comes out swinging because he opens up by calling Flair a banana-nosed, horse-toothed, evil bastard.
So there is one thing that Terry Funk does better than I think anybody on the WCW roster right now, and that is push a narrative. This man can escalate a feud. He can push a story. He can get people invested in an argument or a fight or a character development. He is so good.
He can create a very weird insult that you know is an insult, like calling someone an egg-sucking dog. You're like, that's not good.
None of those words are bad, but in the same sentence, they are coming out of Terry Funk's mouth.
I wouldn't want to be an egg-sucking dog.
But, like, the word egg, the word sucking, and the word dog, none of those are bad words.
No.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Funk puts over Flair's accomplishments, but notes the jealousy in Flair's voice. And then they start talking about Mick Foley's book a little bit. Like, why?
Which, like, it came out in, 99, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of new?
Yeah, but it's the guy in the other company.
Yeah. I mean, they're all buddies. Or at least Funk and Mick are.
Yeah, so for context, Mick Foley praised Terry Funk in his book and put down Ric Flair. And I assume this was not the exact wording, but Funk says that in the book, Foley noted that Flair would make a decent-sized pimple on Funk's ass.
Which, like, is a good insult.
Yeah, it's a very Terry Funk insult. That's why I'm like, I think that's you.
Yeah, he probably is,
Funk wants Flair to join him against the NWO and tells Flair to grow up and then tells him to be a goddamn father.
Like, is he wrong?
Well, he doesn't start wrong, but he gets there. Because he's like, if David was my child, I'd take him behind the woodshed and teach him how to live. But you won't do that,
Okay,
will
yeah,
you, Rick?
I'm not team child abuse. I'm not team corporal punishment. But, like, I understand the sentiment. What Terry Funk is saying is that David Flair needs a father, and Ric Flair has been absent.
Yeah, but in another one of the confusing is Ric Flair a heel. It's like, he won't beat his kid. What a heel.
I know.
What? Funk tells Flair to go be governor and leave the fight to Funk and Arn. Flair
It's
says,
not going very well with just Funk and Arn, so why would you do that?
how did you further your cause when you wrestled the demon on Thunder? How is that going?
Right.
Flair says that Foley is wrong and then insults Terry Funk's farm, which really pisses off Funk.
How dare you insult my goats?
My goats aren't fake. You use that word. Ric Flair should never been broken in this business. Flair says he'll slap the shit out of Funk, and they actually use that verbiage. And then he tells Funk to get into the ring, and Funk does. Flair then notices and laughs at Terry Funk's shirt, calling him a living legend. And they brawl momentarily until security breaks it up. Kinda. Like, they're not trying hard enough to break it up, and the two men aren't trying enough to have a brawl because they know security's breaking it up, so it just kind of comes off weird.
They mentioned WrestleMania in this promo. Did you catch that? From Starrcade to WrestleMania back to Starrcade when they're talking about the world titles.
Oh, of how many Flairs won.
Yeah, I think the direct quote from Funk is, from Starrcade to WrestleMania to Starrcade, I have more world titles than you on your little chicken ranch. Or I guess Flair said that. That makes more sense. So how dare you insult the chickens? Not even the goats, it's the chickens. Chickens are lucrative.
Flair heads to the back and Terry Funk wants more. Backstage, Jeff Jarrett notes that they just found Sid's two partners. I liked the segment. It was
a great promo. It was fantastic.
It was the right amount of messy. Like,
oh, yeah.
We talk about how Ric Flair's style sometimes has them talking over each other. And they let each other be heard enough and had enough back and forth to where this felt good. It felt... I don't want to say authentic because it did come off like a story, but,
that's
it
not
felt
a bad thing.
It felt believable.
It being a story is not a bad thing, and Funk pushing this narrative and really making this a storyline is not a bad thing. This company is really lacking compelling stories, and this could be something.
Yeah, the one thing that has maybe going against it is like, don't try to push Ric Flair as a heel. People want to cheer him right now. You have the NWO as your top like 4 heels right now. Why have Flair be your 5th best heel?
Right.
There's Sid and who else? You need faces. And Ric Flair injected some life into the show.
He really did. This show is fading and fading fast. You need somebody like Ric Flair here to inject that life, like you said. Like, bring some levity to it. Get your crowd excited. Yes, they're cheering against their own sports teams, but at least they're cheering.
Ric Flair does not look positively on his career around this time.
I don't blame him.
It kind of feels that from his own performance. And
really?
I think it's a disservice to himself where I guess a little bit I can see why he wouldn't, but I don't know that I've seen Ric Flair go out there and not be Ric Flair.
Right, yeah.
He may not be being used to the best of his ability, and he may be thinking this is stupid backstage, but still somebody who threatened to get naked if they went to commercial.
Exactly, yeah. And he almost got there. No, this was a great promo. I enjoyed this one very, very much.
Backstage, Mean Gene is there to interview Sid about his 2 partners.
In a perfect Sid promo, so Nick loved it, obviously.
Yeah, Sid just shouts. And
it's the shout and then to a whisper and then to a shout again that Nick is just like bouncing in his seat.
Look, we just said about Ric Flair of this man cannot phone it in.
No.
This man is incapable. He also says that someone will be powerbombed straight to hell tonight.
Hell yeah.
Jesus. Backstage, we see Miss Hancock ask Standards and Practices why they aren't in their suits.
Because it's not standards. It's Lenny and Lodi. Stop calling them Standards and Practices.
Well, they don't like this gimmick anymore. I think they actually say the word gimmick, too.
They call out WCW for sticking them in 2 shit gimmicks. So, yeah, they did say gimmick.
Stacy points out that they're lucky to have jobs after that last stunt they pulled, referring to the West Hollywood Blondes.
Oh.
And in a line that got a laugh out of us, but I don't think for the right reasons. Oh, yeah, we're real lucky to have a job in WCW.
Yeah, it was very snarky. I thought it was funny.
So
is it a work or is it a shoot, brother?
So they say they're off to the NWO to get their name right, which we never follow up with.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess Stacy's on her own now? Let's go to our next match. It is the previously mentioned heel versus heel with a heel. It's the total package with Miss Elizabeth. versus Brian Knobbs with the special guest referee, Fit Finlay. Lex comes out with his special chair again.
He is looking thick.
Looking roidy.
Yeah. Like, no, Lex looks big.
Like, both of us separately noticed it in this
Like,
match.
holy shit, man.
Knobbs actually starts by getting a bit of offense and then signals for Pity City, but Finlay distracts him. And then, like, 10 seconds later, manages to hit Pity City on Lex, which is a spot I really do not want to take. Like,
City?
I know it's safe, but ugh.
It's just stinky. It's like the stink face.
I'd take Pity City over the stink face.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I can't see getting, like, injured at either one, so I put them on the same level.
I am debating would I rather take Pity City or Mr. Sacco.
Oh, Pity City.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
Well, I guess it depends on what era. Because I think after a while he started doing like different socks, but for a little while it was like
It's all the same sock.
Yeah.
Oh, no. But no, just like the gagging thing of it all, I could never.
And
I would take Pity City every day over that.
And this isn't something new to notice, but God, this is really the match where the Luger noises were the most prominent they've been in a while.
He was quite grunty. Yes. On
commentary, they note that Sting was saying he'll be back, around the end of the month. And they're like, well, it's the 31st. Where are you?
Commentary also notes how great Miss Elizabeth is looking because she's on this new workout routine and she's never looked better. And she's so great to be by the side of Lex and like singing her praises.
I think I remember them going like, oh, you know what she does. And you're like, what does she do?
They called her deadly. How the fuck is she deadly? Are we talking about the same person?
Finlay hits Knobbs and Luger works over Knobbs. Knobbs starts a bit of a comeback with some very basic offense. He goes up to Brett's rope, but Finlay scolds him, and then Liz hits him with the baseball bat.
That's the deadly force, clearly.
And Finlay just leaves?
He just walks out of the ring.
Like, what?
I understand that he's like, a heel and he doesn't want Knobbs to win or whatever, but that just felt strange.
When Knobbs is knocked out, just have Lex pin him. This wasn't for the hardcore title. What does it matter?
Is he also like, is he friendly with Lex?
I mean, he wants
not. Or is he just like, fuck this whole match?
I don't know, man. But yeah,
it kind of depends.
Finlay just walks out in a spot that would clearly be like, okay, well, here's the pin. And he doesn't. So yeah, Finlay leaves. Luger Pillmanizes Knobbs' wrist repeatedly like he did with Buff and Sting. Mm-hmm. And on his way out, he name drops Hogan and calls him out.
He also name drops Cal Ripken.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Did you? He said, I am the Cal Ripken of the WCW. No one has a better track record than me. Not even you, Hulk Hogan.
He's calling himself the Iron Man, I guess, then.
But just Cal Ripken. We're in Baltimore. I was like, yeah, you calling out Cal? Yeah. You and Cal, you guys buddies?
We get big We Want Sting chants as we cut to the next segment, which we'll get there in a second because I want to talk about this first. I want to talk about this match and segment first. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Lex.
I'm really over Miss Elizabeth trying to come in and be the one to, like, finish the match. Yeah. I'm over that because she's not doing shit.
Yeah, the act is not over, and
the act should be over.
Yeah, he's got some decent heel heat,
as in
but
finished.
Yeah. But let's talk about Thunder for a second, despite the fact that it doesn't appear anybody wants us to, because Hulk Hogan returns on Thunder.
Oh, yeah, no, in the next segment, they mentioned that Hulk Hogan has called Tony Schiavone and said, I will be back on Thunder on Wednesday, brother.
If you can find this promo, tweet it to us.
We looked.
Because it's not on Peacock, and if you look up, try to find the Nitros in whole without, torrenting them, I managed to find the Thunder before and after that one. I cannot find that Thunder. I've read reports of what it is, and basically Hulk Hogan comes out and goes, all these young guys are shit. There's like 3 good people. It's me, Goldberg, and Flair.
Is there a chance they recap this on the next Nitro? So we'll get like some of it?
Maybe, but
they recapped the whole Sid thing to this more like at the beginning of this one.
But Hogan comes out, cuts to promo. All these young guys are shit. Young up and coming star Lex Luger.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck? So yeah, in the middle of this Lex Luger and Sting feud, we're gonna do Luger versus Hogan. Why? I don't know.
Because I guess they need a reason for Hogan to come back, like something to lure him back to the ring. I don't know.
After saying like 2 weeks ago, I'm never coming back.
Yeah, exactly. It's Hulk Hogan. Don't listen to any word that ever comes out of his mouth. He's a fucking liar.
Emily still wants to do her list of top 5 worst examples of, I guess,
Worst fake retirements.
Yeah. But her definition of fake retirement is very relative because...
It's like fake... If you come out to the ring and you give a goodbye speech, I'm counting that.
Yeah, because we're in watching NXT, we saw John Cena being fired from WWE.
But he gave a goodbye speech.
Yeah, and I turned to Emily and goes, all right, I want you to guess. How much time do you think he misses? You're like, I don't know, 2 weeks. And I'm like, he doesn't miss a day. I would say...
30 minutes.
I forgot to tell you this. I don't think he even misses a house show.
Jesus.
I think this is where he wrestles as Juan Cena under a mask.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
I think this is when that happened. John Cena has been fired and quit a couple times, to the point where CM Punk actually even called it out a couple times on commentary.
That's ridiculous.
Back to the show. We get the We Want Sting chants, and we cut backstage to the Demon's casket being opened. And Emily, who's in there?
It's Screaming Demon Norman Smiley. He comes out in the full garb, the full face paint, in the full attitude. He is the demon now.
I deemed him Demon Smiley.
The part that killed me is what happened after this.
Yes, because they go to commercial.
And it comes back to the actual Kiss Demon with a police officer being like, my jacket's gone. That's all he ever cited was my jacket is gone. Well, I know it's like his cape, but no, it's not even, he doesn't even cite that his full gear is gone. He says my jacket is gone. He called the police. He is an undead demon monster. And he called the police because his jacket is missing. Holy fucking Karen demon. What? You are undead and you can't fight your own battle. You had to call the cops to get your jacket back? Are you joking?
Emily, you're missing the best line of this. What did he look like? He looked like Kiss.
What do you think it looked like? It looked like Kiss. What the fuck?
Fucking burying the Kiss Demon. We're 2 shows in. He's, I guess since the return, he's lost the match Terry Funk and he had his shit stolen.
And he called the cops. You're in the same building. Nothing has left the building. You know that the people in there, that one of them has it. And you called the fucking police?
The Kiss Demon's swatting Norman Smiley.
My God. I can't even imagine.
So we go to...
Imagine calling the cops when you lose your sunglasses. Or like you can't find your keys in your house and you call the cops.
I mean...
What?
I would say you are the white woman of the podcast, so I feel like you're closer to that territory.
I know. And I should be... Sometimes I come out and I'm a little Karen-y, but this is something else.
Well, let's move on to the match. It's Norman Smiley versus Shane Helms, or... You deem Norman what?
Screaming Demon.
Screaming Demon, which I think is what they call him.
They do.
I'm standing by Demon Smiley.
Unfortunately, I do think it's Mark Madden that calls him the Screaming Demon, so...
Yeah, Norman is in full demon garb. This is fucking great. He's committing enough to the bit to where I love it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good.
Helms hits a frog splash and leg drops. This is where Tony notes that he has huge news. Hulk Hogan will be back on Thunder.
Yeah, that's when he gets the phone call.
Unless you're watching on Peacock. Vader bomb from Helms is countered, and we get the rare airplane spin in this match. Helms gets crotched and falls really hard from the corner. Like, it looked rough.
But he does like a cool flip with it too, to like kind of save himself, or it looked pretty slick.
And then Norman Smiley breaks out the giant swing and does it really fucking well.
Somewhere, a young Cesaro looks on and is thinking to himself, that is now mine.
You know what?
This might be when Cesaro was like training. He's not that old, but he's also not that young.
No, admittedly. So the problem is his indie offense has so much shit going into it that legitimately I don't know how much he would have broke this out in the indies. However, when he was going through any sort of WWE developmental system or getting signed and all that, I'm pretty sure Norman Smiley would have been there.
Do you think Norman?
I don't know. It's possible.
Trained Cesaro and taught him the big swing?
I don't know if he taught him the big swing, but it was like, hey, you're really fucking strong. You should do this. It's going to look great.
This is a cool thing I did once.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
We didn't get Norman locking in the chicken wing, which they call by the name they used to. And I'm like, oh yeah, we have seen this. The Norman Conquest.
I have never heard that.
And he gets the win. The demon then comes out in trunks. Which
with the cops.
Well, you were convinced the trunks were undies.
I did think he was coming out in his underwear because he didn't have his gear. He comes out with the cops with the intention of, like, pressing charges.
They chased...
Because they stole a jacket?
It's the Back to the Future. I think he took his wallet.
Jesus Christ, man.
They chase Norman away, and the demon gets like close to Norman, and they just cut away again. I'm like, stop cutting to other things.
Well, because they don't want to see them actually like catch each other, because that kind of ruins the pursuit.
We get Mean Gene interviewing DDP and Kimberly.
It's mostly Kimberly.
So I did find this out recently about the DDP Buff feud. Like 2 weeks ago, the segment they did was like one of the highest rated segments in recent Nitro history.
It was fantastic.
It like spiked it, and they go, well, that's enough of that.
What?
Yeah, I think now.
I mean, that segment was fantastic.
I forget if it was the match or a segment between them.
They have like a promo that they go back and forth.
Yeah, I'm forgetting which one. It was whatever was from the January 17th episode. So maybe it was that one.
Back.
But yeah, it got a massive rating, and they're like, no, let's just end this. And apparently now they're going to be friendly. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds like WCW.
But yeah, Gene interviews DDP and Kimberly. They're interrupted by the Mamalukes, and Disco pinches Kimberly's butt, which prompts
touched my butt.
Which prompts the line, Disco just pinched my butt. Kimberly slaps Disco, and DDP beats him up, and we go to commercial.
Sorry, I did look back on my notes. This is the main event, DDP versus Buff with referee Kimberly. That was the highest rating.
2 weeks ago?
The 17th, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember when things were.
So the promo must have been the week prior.
Yeah, but so that match got a massive rating.
That's crazy. I mean, I remember it being okay.
Yeah.
I remember Kimberly looking amazing.
But so yeah, DDP's beating up Disco, and they go to commercial. When they come back from commercial, DDP's music is hitting.
We still don't know who he was slated to be in a match with.
I'm guessing
it wasn't Disco.
Yeah, I don't know, but in the interim, the music hits, and Disco is talking to some like backstage hand, like, can you believe what DDP did? And DDP just comes back and beats him up some more.
And then, ta-da, that's now the match.
Yeah, they brawl towards the ring, and they stop at the DJ Rand stand, and I'm like...
DJ Rand's still fucking here?
Yeah. They brawl through the crowd, they finally get in the ring, and the bell rings. Diving clothesline from DDP, spinning Uranagi from DDP. We get a Russian leg sweep from Disco, and then he spanks DDP.
Wow.
Disco...
I'll touch someone's butt.
Disco stomps DDP in the corner, but DDP fires up, and it's a spinning sit-out powerbomb. Signals for the diamond cutter, but it's hit with a jawbreaker from Disco. DDP counters a hip toss into a diamond cutter and gets the pin. You know, as a match, serviceable, wasn't bad.
It was more of a story plot point. It was not really a match.
Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out character-wise what they want to do with DDP, and I think they're kind of similar boat. Because I keep saying, like, is he a face? Because he keeps getting a face reaction, kind of doing face actions with a little sprinkle of heel. And again, here it's like, man defends his wife.
What an asshole.
Yeah, so
I can't tell.
And then DDP celebrates through the crowd. And I'm like,
I don't know.
I know he's a face soon, but I don't know when.
Anybody knows what he is, honestly. I don't think the writers, I don't think the bookers, I don't think the audience, I don't think DDP knows.
Yeah, they probably doesn't know. But the crowd wants to like him, much like Flair. It's one of those where it's like, you're not the NWO and you're a big deal.
Right.
Yay. But let's move into our main event. It is Jeff Jarrett and the Harris Boys versus Sid Vicious, Ric Flair, and Terry Funk. Except not really Ric Flair.
Not really.
The Harris Boys come out in suits with NWO shirts. Like they're going to wrestle in the suit pants and the NWO shirts.
Look.
Yeah. Flair doesn't come out at the start. Everyone kind of brawls in the aisle mid-entrance. Sid and Jarrett end up on the stage, but nothing of note happens.
Did you have a hard time watching this match with the shaky camera?
I
felt like I noticed the camera moving a lot more in this match than I've ever noticed it before, and it was like starting to make me dizzy.
It was like one cam op.
Yeah, exactly. And he's trying to like whip around and catch everything, and it was just like making me dizzy.
Funk hits a chair shot on Jeff Jarrett and one of the Harris Boys, but Jarrett somehow ends up with the chair, and everyone's just kind of brawling around ringside. Sid and one of the Harris Boys end up in the ring as Funk gets slammed on the announce table. Funk tries to weaponize a commentary rolling chair to little effect.
Yeah.
Sid goes to powerbomb Jarrett, but it's broken up, and people finally get onto the apron like, oh no, it's a tag match. And I'm like, yeah? But then people are still using the steel chair. So I'm like,
yeah, so it's technically a tag match with no holds barred.
The heels work over Funk. Funk hits a back suplex, but the hot tag is stopped, and they keep working over Funk. Funk hits a falling pile driver, but Jeff Jarrett kicks out because the Harris Boys are a little late to break up the pin.
Yeah.
Like, clearly that was meant to be like a protected spot. Like, nope, never mind. Hot tag to Sid, and he cleans house as Ric Flair finally comes out, but he's here to attack Terry Funk.
He's just here to fuck up Funk. He's not here for this match. He's not here to help Sid. He's just here to fuck up Terry Funk.
Sid hits a chokeslam to one Harris boy and a powerbomb to the other. Jarrett sneaks in and does his patented tap on the shoulder to turn around for a guitar shot.
God.
And pins Sid, and we immediately go off the air.
Oh, yeah. It was like hit, cut.
It was a messy brawl.
Although I did type out one of my favorite sentences.
Oh, okay.
Just Sid powerbombs a Nazi. It's just so clean. It tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, messy brawl. I'd like Jeff Jarrett winning here in terms of trying to build him.
Yeah.
Sid has the out of basically of it becoming a 3-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah, it really did turn. And
Jarrett cheats by using a weapon and like.
But it's also Charles Robinson, and he's the most corrupt of them all.
He's not been a heel recently.
No, but
he's just been
kind of write everything off.
No, if anything, Slick Johnson's the heel ref currently.
I don't know. Whenever I see Charles Robinson, I'm like, oh, nothing you say matters.
Thoughts on this show as a whole?
Not bad. I was not dreading talking about this one, like I said.
No, and I don't know. Maybe Thunder helped that, but I was like, no, yeah, nothing was atrocious here. Things were maybe a little bit dumb here and there, but
things were definitely dumb.
But like, yeah, there was nothing that I'm like pull my hair out over.
No, this was not like embarrassing to watch. If somebody walked in with us watching this, I wouldn't be like, oh God, turn it off.
Yeah, I am noting a distinct lack of Tank Abbott from a Nitro that I'm like, this wasn't the worst.
Shocking.
Before we get into best bit, worst bit, and MVP and all that, I do want to take a second to plug our upcoming Patreon again.
Oh,
We've
hell yeah.
previously mentioned it. We're still a little unsure of the actual release date of it. We're in the middle.
We got a wedding.
Yeah, we're in the middle of planning a wedding and showers and a bunch of other stuff. Our plan is to have 3 pieces of media on day one.
Minimum.
One of which is guaranteed to be the original unaired pilot we were going to do of WrestleMania 18, where
I am so excited to listen to that again and hear how much my knowledge has changed. Because
what if it hasn't? How sad
No, since we recorded that, what was that, like 4 years ago at this point? 3 years ago?
It was early 2020.
Oh, it was 2020.
It was pandemic.
It was pandemic, because this is a pandemic project. So this was 3 years ago, minimum. And we watched significantly more wrestling since then, and I've learned a lot more, and I've read a lot more, and like I want to listen back to that and be like, oh, you sweet baby idiot, you don't know anything.
It's about a 4-hour file, so gear up for that. And then, as I said before, Emily's going to be mostly running this, so
hell yeah, brother, get ready for some faff.
Yeah, so if you enjoyed the NXT ranting, I'm scared to let her do whatever she wants, because part of me is like, oh, is it just going to be...
Nick, have you ever heard of a show called Brooke Knows Best?
Yeah, you have to start with Hogan Knows Best.
No, I don't. It's my show.
And I know we mentioned it earlier, but I still don't know what the other 2 things are going to be, and we're trying to kind of keep it that way. But we're going to let this be Emily's baby, whatever she wants on me after I kind of forced her to watch WCW. So there's a little bit of a blacklist of what she can't pick for stuff we will be reviewing, and stuff that we may review that may be like a poll. But I guess once the poll is over, you can maybe watch any of the other ones. So
down.
Yeah, so
I think we're gonna watch a lot of women's content, if I'm honest, because like I love women's wrestling. There's so much silliness around the world of wrestling online that I just want to talk about it.
I think our hope is still by the wedding.
Definitely, that is the absolute goal. So if you guys want to subscribe as like a wedding gift, that'll be pretty cool. But you know.
But Emily, let's go into best bit, worst bit, and MVP. Emily, what do you got?
So for my best bit, I was between 2. I think I have to give it to Demon Norman, though.
You know, same.
Yeah.
I don't think we highlighted enough how good it was. He committed enough to the bit. It was just some fun injected into this, which is just what we need right now. And we've said it before. It's amazing how Norman Smiley went from a groaner to like a highlight.
Like, yeah, we are waiting for him to come out. So yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Do you have a worst bit?
I don't think I do. Did you get one?
I'm going to say mine. I'll let you piggyback on it if you want. But Mark Madden replacing Bobby Heenan. I don't like it.
I worry that that's going to become a perpetual worst bit.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't say it.
No, you could. By the way, you can double up on that if it continues to be a worse bit.
But I feel like if I use it week after week after week, you'll call me on and be like, Emily, you can't keep using the same bit.
If he's that bad, you can. However, this week is just him replacing Bobby Heenan. I think you can't use it after this week.
Well, he also made some really great comments at the top of the show. So yeah, maybe. Lauding Oklahoma. Fuck off.
And Emily, who is your MVP?
I gave it to Terry Funk.
Terry Funk.
Yeah. I think that Ric Flair promo was one of my options for best bit. I think that promo became as good as it was because of Terry Funk's involvement.
Ironically, I'm giving mine to the other end of that promo. I'll give mine to Ric Flair.
Valid.
Just the injection of energy
He's
is
just
so
mumbly
needed
for me. I can't understand what he's saying.
All right, I'm hearing him clearer, so maybe I've just
You're probably more used to his.
Yeah, I've just heard more Ric
timbre.
Flair promos, so
Maybe.
Ric Flair brought Mean Gene joy. He sparked Mean Gene's joy, so
that sparked your joy.
that's enough. But that's gonna do it for this Nitro. Next up is the next Nitro.
Wow, what a sell.
We have 2 more until Super Brawl. Emily's Super Brawl was the show last year that made me lose my mind.
Yeah.
So,
It has a reputation.
oh no! Now I'm like literally my chest is like getting a little tight. Like, oh fuck!
It has a reputation.
But you can listen to that episode and all of our other back catalog on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and well, God, there's the new one. They're like.
No one listens on that. Don't even.
The fucking Dickies home radio or something, whatever it was. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Butts in the Pod and Facebook at the Butts in the Seats Podcast. Emily, any closing thoughts? I feel like we definitely made up for the shortness of the last episode with
Definitely. We had a lot
length
to
on
say.
this
I
one,
didn't
yeah.
realize. But no, I don't have anything extra. I think we said it all.
We're actually recording this before you do your NXT rant, but are you happy to be done with that soon?
It doesn't feel like I'm going to be done with it soon. I know we're down, like, in current day, we are down to the final 3 girls in the season, and, like, it just feels like it's going to go forever. And if I have to hear Vicky Guerrero say, excuse me, one more goddamn time, I'm going to rip my face off.
I can tell you, that's kind of her whole character.
Oh, I know. Oh, I'm aware.
So the next podcast arc is going to be the Vicky Guerrero era of SmackDown.
Oh, no.
Well, we won't do that, but we will do the next Nitro. And until then, I'm Nick.
I'm Emily.
And thanks for listening to the Butts and Seats Podcast.
Bye.